I love the 1970s, you know? The sheet metal shapes, the bold graphics, the raw, unapologetic sound of big V8s. The fact that some of these cars were built primarily to crush the quarter mile. Today, we're countdowning the quickest 1970s muscle cars over the quarter mile. Ending with the absolute fastest. YouTube. 8 minutes. These aren't just glamour shots and brochure numbers. Real-world ETs. The options that mattered. Why some cars surprised people in a straight line. We'll hit torque monsters, aero-assisted bullets, semi-race engines shoehorned into street cars. The AMC Javelin AMX 401 is often overlooked in muscle car conversations, but the 401 V8 was a serious piece of hardware. With a big block feel and a relatively light body, it could launch hard and pull strong through the mid-range. On a good day, a well-prepped AMX 401 could run competitive quarter-mile times against more famous rivals. Real-world ETs were typically mid-13s to 14 stock, depending on gearing and tires. With better tuning and a performance A833 4-speed, or a Torque-A-Flight with firm shifts, some cars dipped into the low 13s. The GTO Judge combined Pontiac's performance mystique with a very effective Ram Air system. Ram Air provided a denser intake charge at speed, and it showed up on the stopwatch. The Judge's 400s and 455s, particularly with Ram Air IFR options, produced credible low to mid-13 ET stock, quicker with tuning. A broad torque curve meant predictable, hard-hitting launches on good tires. Optimized intake and cam choices made real differences on the clock. It was a psychological weapon as much as a performance car. With proper gearing, a stout converter or tight clutch, Judges laid down repeatable passes. Straight line, Ram Air plus torque made the Judge a worthy entry. The Torino Cobra, with the 429 Cobra Jet, lived to move the car forward as quickly as possible. Purpose-built for torque and launchability, it put down low to mid-13 ETs on the street. Race-prepped cars, quicker still. Huge low-end shove, effectively exploited by the chassis. CJ block, heavy-duty transmission, and a limited slip put torque to work off the line. Factory and dealer drag options, dual exhausts, heavy-duty cooling, and functional scoops built consistency. Repeatable straight-line performance made it a street strip favorite. And when a 429 thundered down track, people noticed. Presence plus consistent ETs locks the Torino into this countdown. The Roadrunner 440 6-pack is all about 3 2-barrel carbs feeding an already potent 440, you know. The setup made a broad, aggressive torque curve and delicious throttle response. Stock cars typically ran low to mid-13s, with better ignition and exhaust unlocking quicker times. The charm wasn't just peak power, it's how the power came on. Right rear gears and a good converter made it a strip terror. Drivers who synced the front and rear carburetors squeezed surprising ET gains without extreme mods. Hands-on tunability kept it competitive against the heavy hitters. Lively, quick, upgrade-friendly. Consistent domination when set up right. The W30 package was Oldsmobile's thoroughly engineered answer to performance. High-flow heads, cam, intake, and dual exhaust, all to optimize peak power and torque. Stock W30s were mid to low 13s, with room to improve. Olds emphasized drivability as much as raw numbers. Predictable delivery meant repeatable passes beat flash. Right gearing and minimal tuning rivaled heavier hitters. A sleeper, quiet presence, serious bite. Improve intake flow and dial in ignition timing to drop ETs. Basic bolt-ons net gains without sacrificing street use. Buick's GSX with the 455 Stage 1 was a torque-laden monster that loved hard launches. Big displacement plus Stage 1 tuning delivered brutal low-end thrust and potent quarter-mile performance, often mid-12s, low 13s in well-set examples. Buick paired brute force with hardware that got it to the pavement. More traction, better ETs. Consistency made it deadly on the strip. Torque kills the stopwatch more than flashy top end. Spectacle and numbers in one package, the GSX 455 Stage 1 backs up the show with time slips. The Daytona is unique here because aerodynamics. Aero and Hemi power work together. The pointed nose and big wing brought high-speed stability, and the 426's brutal power delivered some of the quickest factory-backed passes. Low 12s and race trim, mid to low 12s for well-prepped street cars. Reduced drag let it shine where speed mattered. The big end. On longer strips, it pulled away from similar displacement rivals. Aero plus Hemi equals repeatable speed. Purpose-built. And the clock agreed. The Boss 429 was essentially a semi-race engine shoehorned into a Mustang. Built to homologate for NASCAR, it was a huge breathing V8 that loved RPMs. High rev power translated into monstrous horsepower. On the quarter mile, the best Boss 429s dipped low 12s, with many stockers mid 12s. High-capacity induction and cam design gave top-end thrust. In a relatively light body with the right gearing, it exploded through the back half when tuned right and fed enough fuel. Street manners, near race performance. A compellingly fast era icon. The Charger RT with the 426 Hemi is archetypal. Big, heavy, terrifyingly powerful. Efficient breathing gave it a real advantage, and even with the Charger's mass, drivers coaxed mid-12s. Many street cars lived in the mid to low 13s depending on setup. That wheelbase and weight helped traction but made perfect launches harder. Once it hooked, the Hemi pulled like a freight train. Gear swaps and converter tuning made its power more effective in a quarter mile. Tightened times turned the Charger into a serious straight-line contender. The Challenger RT offered similar Hemi power in a slightly different package. Lighter, and to some, more driver-friendly. In practice, Hemi Challengers posted comparable mid-12 ETs for good street cars, lower with prep. A shorter, stiffer feel often helped launches, and small chassis tweaks and tire choices paid off. The Hemi was the constant, and the Challenger's balance made that power easier to exploit. Hemi power plus a reactive chassis earns the Challenger its place near the top. The Chevelle SS454 with the LS6 option is legendary. It delivered measurable performance. Factory and magazine tests translated directly to the stopwatch. A no-nonsense, high-flow big block that made exceptional power for the time. Verified low 12s were no fluke. Displacement, cam profile, and optimized intake produced repeatable results. Maintain it, add tire and driveline improvements, and many owners stayed solidly in the low 12s. It rewarded preservation and competent tuning. Fast out of the box, faster with basics. Measured dominance is why the LS6 ranks this high. Closing the list, Plymouth Hemi Cuda of 1970, the car many call the pinnacle of quarter-mile performance. A 426 Hemi in a lighter, well-distributed chassis made extraordinary straight-line results. With the right tires and gearing, factory and magazine-tested, Cudas posted consistent low 12s, even sub-12 passes. Efficient breathing, aggressive cam timing, massive torque, launch like a rocket, pull through the traps. A compact, lighter package helped it hit ETs others dreamed of. Not theoretical. Magazines, racers, and owners documented the times. When brochure horsepower fibbed, the Cuda told the truth on the clock. Legendary status plus repeatable domination. The perfect bookend to our countdown.